Guys, welcome to BAM. We're going to go ahead and get started. We do this every other week. It stands for Be a Marketer. And if it's your first time here, welcome. This is an awesome group of people. We've got some in-person folks here. Thank you guys for showing up. And online, thank you guys for being here. The goal of this is to really transform your mindset, because there's lots of tools and there's lots of ways that you guys can get out there and market for your businesses. But sometimes if we don't have the right mindset of what we're going to be actually marketing or how we're going to go about and do that, it can get really complicated and confusing. And so what we're going to be talking about today are some hacks or shortcuts with leveraging Chatbot GPT, which hopefully you guys all know about and use, or maybe you're on the wait list for Chatbot GPT 4 because you didn't do it earlier. But we're going to be talking about how to use Chatbot GPT with some really good prompts to help you create some amazing content for social, and just some best practices too when you're creating social content. Because a lot of times when we're creating social, it can be very last minute and unplanned. And that's okay to have some like off the cuff, like, hey, I'm out here doing this thing. Like, hey, I'm at BAM, hanging out, having fun. Like, those are important and great. That builds culture, that builds story. But it's also good to have some planned out social posts that help bring in the right traffic and potentially bring in leads and sales. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that today. So before we get started, so I think most of you are already in this, but if you are not, we have our online community for BAM where we post all the replays for this. So all of our past videos live here, and most of the people that are in this room or online are in here. So this is where we have some great online conversations. So if you're not a part of the BAM community, make sure to be a part of that. And that is the QR code. And I'll leave that up here for just a second while we start this next part. So if you've ever listened to any of my podcasts, or maybe even heard me talk about this before, it's called the 4 Ps. And whenever we get down to doing marketing, whether that's email marketing, social, video, website, the 4 Ps that are the most important thing to think about are the person. Who knows the second P? You remember the second P? There's 4 Ps. And it's okay to be wrong. It's okay. The person, the problem. Okay, third P. You can guess. Yes. The promise. What's the 4th P? Peanut butter. That's right. Man, I do love me some peanut butter. So person, problem, promise. And then think about this from a marketing perspective. What's the one big thing that we're missing here if we're trying to get someone to take action? We've identified who your dream person is. Logan knows, don't give away yet. What the problem is that they're experiencing, what the promise is, and then what is the one missing component? And if no one can guess it, Logan is going to chime in because he's heard this 2,000 times. What's the first word he said? Yes, the proof. And this can also be substituted with product. So it's who's the dream person, what's the problem they're experiencing, what's the promise that your solution delivers, and then what is the proof that it actually works, or what is that core product that solves that problem? So whenever you're going about talking to someone, this is what, when people come in here and they do consulting with us, and we do kind of our big storyboard over here and walk them through the brand story, this is kind of the premise of everything else. So like if Austin is ever doing consulting for tech, like I would walk them through these, and you can spend almost a half day just talking about these areas. Because when it boils down to it, there's so much confusion that comes on top of it, like of all the other things that you can talk about, where people think about like, well, how much does it cost? And what colors are we going to use? And what channels are we going to promote it in? But they forget this core foundation of who is this specific person we're talking to, right? So if Natalie is trying to find someone to come in for cryo, it could be like, am I looking for a Southlake mom that is a pickleball player that has kids in school at Southlake that is looking to come in before her next pickleball game? Like, who is that very specific person? And then what is that very specific problem they're dealing with? The problem could even be like, I want to be better than my best friend on the pickleball court after I drop my kids off at school, right? Like we've got to get into the psychology of who is that dream person. It could be, someone that's coming in for the gym at Keller Point, right? Like that person, again, if it's the dad that wants to get back in shape, the new year's about to start, they have a family at home, and they're finally ready to start over and push the reset button. Yeah. So, but that's it, right? Like the psychology is I'm going for the middle-aged dad that has kids at school that's tired of looking at himself in the mirror. The problem is, that's it. He's tired of seeing the same old person in the mirror every day. He knows he has to change something. And if he doesn't make a change, then he's going to continue to be tired because he's not going to have energy for his kids, right? We go down that path of what's the worst case scenario if they don't solve that problem. If Brian's ideal client does not get all the crap out of the garage, their wife might file for divorce. Like, I have told you a million times to get this stuff out. So, you don't have to be that dramatic, but the truth is we have to really paint that picture of what happens if that problem doesn't get solved. And then that's when you position your product or your service, right? You don't start with this. No one really cares about cryotherapy. What they care is how it makes them feel, right? It's the problem they solve. I was going to frame that up in a good way. But you could say that about any business, right? Like no one gets excited about freezing their whole body. Like it's a painful process that ends in a great feeling, great results after it. So that's where we've got to go for that outcome. Like no one really enjoys the process maybe of going through IT tech consulting. Like it's all these like technical things and these calls and maybe these spreadsheets and this analysis. But the end result of what they're trying to solve for is imagine if you didn't have to have all this extra tech and you didn't have to pay all these expensive things and you just had fewer systems that you had to spend less time and money on that could help you get your result faster. Because ultimately, people want to buy the hole and not the drill. So we've got to stop selling the drill, right? Which is the mechanism to get them the result. And we need to really focus on the hole they're trying to accomplish with that drill. So if Natalie starts talking about, hey, imagine if you felt like your body just got a full refresh, like how's that going to make you feel? Imagine like once you get through the cryotherapy machine, you come out of there and literally your heart is I don't know all the details of it. I've only done a cold plunge a couple times, but your body gets fresh blood engineered back to all of your body and you feel alive and new and fresh again. Or like that's the experience you're selling. You're not selling, hey, do you want to come step into a giant freezer and feel like you're literally going to die? All I know is when I did the cold plunge, I had to have a coach. Okay. But I'm still going to tell this story. And Logan and John were there because they know when I had to do cold plunge in San Antonio for a drip bar video, because I was the only one that I guess got voluntold to do it. I had to have a coach telling me that I was not dying for the first minute because your body immediately goes into shock and you're in fight or flight mode and your body actually tells itself it's freezing to death. And that's what makes it work. It's because like, oh, you feel so great because your body literally thought it was dying. I'm just glad they told me that afterwards. Yeah. So who wants to do a cold plunge in cryo? But I really want you guys to think about that too, especially in this holiday season, like as you're trying to get like any, last minute sales or offers in, or even in the beginning of the new year, is what is that hole and not the drill? What is the result people really, really want to get from working with you? Right? Because most people lose sight of that. They're just saying like, oh, it's a gym membership, or oh, it's cryotherapy, or tech consulting, or portrait photography, or junk removal, or any of the business services you guys have that are watching online. Think about what is actually the result that people want to get and sell that result or outcome, and don't sell the drill that is going to help people get the result, because they're wasting brain calories trying to figure out like cryotherapy. Okay, is cryotherapy really going to help me get this thing? And you're left for them to make that decision instead of you just focusing on how it's going to make them feel and all the benefits. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at the problem. How do we be loud about the problem that you are solving? Because do you guys think that people move faster towards a positive solution or away from a painful problem? Away from the problem. You guys are smart. That's why you're here. People move faster away from pain than they do towards pleasure. And so what that means is not that we use fear to scare them into doing business with you, but we want to really highlight the problem that you are solving and what happens if they don't solve that problem. Because when we get in the hat of sales, you're helping them solve that problem and get out of pain. Even if they don't want it, they might need it. And it's your job to help guide them towards that solution. Because if it was easy, right, just the saying, if it was easy, everyone would do it. If it just took a logical argument of like, oh yeah, you have this problem, here's the solution, let's go, then sales would be easy. We'd all be rich on islands and there'd be no problems. But usually when it comes to business and entrepreneurship, the challenge is getting people emotionally invested into the problem that you're solving and believing that you are the one that can solve that problem. That's why it takes so much work in sales. So what we're going to be talking today about is how to be loud about your problem and making it a really big deal, because if you're going to be the expert to help them solve that problem, you've got to be the expert of knowing why this is such a problem and the ins and outs of that problem. And so here's the 3 things that I'm going to help you guys do today. One is generate a list of valuable posts about the problem that you solve. So instead of us just having sporadic posts about anything and everything that we're doing, we're really going to focus in on posting about the problem. What is the problem that Brian is solving? What is the problem that Tina's solving, that Austin's solving? How do we get really focused on the problem? And the good news is we're going to use some Chatbot GPT to help us with that. We're not going to rely on our own brains. We're going to have a hybrid robot brain for a little bit to help get creative on these ideas. And then the second thing that we're going to do is we are going to plan, record, and post. That means we're going to pre-plan this. So you don't have to wake up every morning and say, oh crap, I'm supposed to post about a problem. Let me get my coffee, get my notebook. Spouse needs something, kids need something, have to do this. Oh, I forgot. I'm just going to do something real quick. Like, we're going to plan all this out so you can know that posts are going out about the problem. And then we're going to position you as the go-to expert. Because when you are really loud about the problem, that must mean that you have a solution that you're giving people. And it can't just be, we say there's 3 ways you can be an expert. You can be a painkiller. Actually, there's 2. You can be the painkiller or you can be candy. We don't want you to be candy, which is just like the short, sweet, like, oh, that tastes good, move on to the next. We have to position you as the true painkiller. The pain is so bad that your solution is going to take away that pain, and it's going to be a real solution, not just a momentary hit. Then we're back on to the next. So those are the 3 things. So the first thing is we're going to go through a list, and you might take a picture of this, and I'll send this to you later. But these are the right Chat GPT prompts to get you started. All the work's already been done, so you just have to fill in the blanks here. You don't really have to think a whole lot on these. So here is the very first one. Is you literally go into Chatbot GPT and you say, suggest a social media post idea that addresses the biggest pain point my audience faces. It's that easy. Just literally copy and paste it into Chatbot GPT. And then if you didn't know this, whenever you use Chatbot GPT and you're asking multiple questions, it grows off of the questions you ask. So it references the previous question to answer the next question. Ask it to what? Oh, yes, if you accidentally hit enter, there is a little stop button. So you can hit stop. But as you're building this out, it gets smarter. And so if it's answering a question about this and you ask it another question, it's going to pull from the previous responses. So you don't have to start it over like it's a brand new conversation to be like, hey, just as a reminder, my name is Tina and I'm a portrait photographer and I'm looking for this kind of person to do this kind of work. It's going to already know that from the previous questions. So you can go straight to the question. Okay, so other than that main one, here's the thread of questions you ask after that. What kind of post can I create to highlight the #1 challenge my audience encounters daily? And then granted, actually, so part of the intro, sorry, I missed one. You do need to tell it some basic information, right? So you need to say, my name is Natalie. I work with a cryotherapy clinic. We're in the North Texas area, and we work with these kind of people. So feed it some basic information. And then once you generate these questions, it will pull out from that. That would be one that would suck to miss. So do that first. And here's the cool thing. If you have Chatbot GPT-4, sorry, Jessica, it is, I think, like $20 a month. But what's neat, a couple things. One is it can generate graphics. So you can even say, make me a graphic that has a person in cryotherapy that's smiling and not in any pain at all. Did the first one take it? But it can also crawl your website. So you can put in your website and it will like crawl the content on there. So when you're asking it questions, it can actually pull from your website to help answer those questions, which is pretty cool. Okay, so what kind of post can I create to highlight the #1 challenge my audience encounters daily? Number 2, give me a post idea that explains why problem, this is where you insert the big problem, is a pressing issue in our industry. Number 3, help me craft a post that empathizes with my audience frustrations related to problem. So you'll need to spend some time to really think through, like, what is that problem we're trying to solve? And then when you put it in here, it's going to help creatively come up with ideas of how to create some posts and some messages around that problem. Those are the first 3. Second 3, what type of content can I share to showcase real-life examples of problem? Number 5, suggest a post idea that educates my audience about the consequences of not solving problem, right? That's what we talked about. Like, what happens if no one gets their junk removed? It's going to clutter their house. They might be on an episode of Hoarders. They could have their wife file for divorce. All these things, again, kind of extreme, but what's the consequences of not solving the problem? And then number 6, how can I create a post that offers a quick tip or solution related to problem? Now, you might not use all of these, but this should at least inspire you on a few really good post ideas that are just focused around the problem that you are solving. And then even things like this, if you give a tip, what you're not doing is saying, hey, buy now or book time with me or do this thing. You're giving something of value for free that increases trust. So I don't know if you guys have seen, like, I've been doing the daily free emails where I give something away for free for a day. I don't even know what I'm on, like 8 or 9 maybe. But those have gotten the highest open rates and click rates, and I'm not asking for anything in return. All I'm doing is giving my best information on how to solve a problem of marketing to people that are on my list with no sort of weird behind the scenes closing mechanism, right? It's just giving value for free. So if you do something like that, that's all we're doing in this post. Think about what kind of tip or advice or benefit you can give away for free that builds trust. And that's what positions you as the expert. So Brian might have something that has to do with organization. Him and his wife, I'm sure, have dealt a lot with how to keep things organized or clean or, in the junk removal space. So it could be, here's 5 tips of how to organize your garage to decrease the clutter and increase some peace of mind. And it could be very practical things. And there's nothing wrong at the very end of that if he says, hey, if you need some help, we're here, just let us know. But 90% of that is stuff that someone can just do. Because guess what? If they actually follow that advice and they do the things in Brian's email, they're going to think back and be like, man, I am so thankful that Brian sent that email and I was able to do this work and have this outcome. And even though Brian didn't do anything, he provided information. The people that follow that and get the result are going to attribute that success back to Brian. So when they're ready to hire someone, there's a lot more likelihood they're going to go to Junk Dog, right? And not to someone else down the street because he's the one that provided them some good value and good feelings. J-Dog, Junk Dog. I haven't had a Celsius today. Sorry. Thank you. J-Dog, junk removal. There's not a Junk Dog. That's a separate business you're working on, right? You're gonna create junk that then J-Dog can then go remove. So it kind of feeds us. Okay. Here's 3 more. Number 7. Generate a post idea that tells a success story of someone who overcame blank problem. Number 8, what kind of post can I make to address common misconceptions about problem? And then provide me with a post idea that includes a compelling statistic related to problem. So you guys aren't having to do any of the work here. Chatbot is pulling from different resources around the global internets and giving you that information that you can then share. And all you're doing here is you're sharing content that's helping someone overcome their own fear, overcome their own objections, right? They probably have some common misbeliefs about your product or service, especially around like cryotherapy. Like, hey, I heard someone died doing this. It's like, yeah, but how many people die in a car every day? You know, it's like, what are some of the common misconceptions or false beliefs people have around your product or service? Like for Tina, it's like, well, can't my iPhone take good pictures? It's like, well, yes, but. Or, you know, can't I just do a home gym and get this stuff and not have to go to a place like the Keller Point? That's it. Be like, yeah, you absolutely can become a shredded piece of steel in your garage, but you're going to have no friends. Who's going to like that picture on social? Yeah, no one's going to see you. You're going to have some great selfies that nobody likes because no one knows you. You don't have community. So yeah, become that shredded piece of steel at the Keller Point. So those are the things, right? It's like we really have to get out of our own heads and think about your dream customer and think about what problem they are facing. And sometimes, I mean, it could be, right, the status problem. It's not just a normal, it doesn't have to be a really deep, sophisticated problem. It could be a really basic problem. Like people that want to beat their girlfriends in pickleball or, yes, if you pause the video, go back. Yes, beat their friends in pickleball, competitively win in pickleball. You know, the problem could very well be like how others perceive them or how they're seen in the world. So think about that. Usually like when we do the deep dive on the board over here, we think about a philosophical problem. We think about the, man, my mind just blanked, internal, external, philosophical. So internal problem is what are they truly dealing with on the inside? Like what are they saying to themselves? I could never get in the cryo machine. I could never show up to the Keller Point. Like what are they saying to themselves? External problems are things that they cannot impact that are outside, right? Like I don't have the money to afford this, or I don't have a car to get me to the gym, or my body is not allowed to get just below a certain temperature point. Like what are some of the external things? And then the philosophical things are the belief statements. Like, I don't believe I could ever have a portrait done of myself, or I don't believe I could ever do X, Y, Z. So when you break it down to those three things, if you want to go really deep on this, just think about those as an internal, external, and philosophical problem. Okay. So on Chatbot, those are, I guess, kind of the 10 things if you think about the first one, is make sure you start with putting information about your business, or it's not going to know what the heck to answer you as. It's going to say, cool, I'm happy to do that. What do you do? Who are your customers and what kind of business are you in? So tell Chatbot GPT, if you don't have an account, it's like openai.com, Chatbot GPT, there's a free version. There's a free version, and it's great. I use it almost daily. There's also an iPhone app for it. It's awesome. So tell it about your business and just ask some of these questions, and that will help you create some really great social posts that aren't just the repeat of your offers, right? Some of us just get stuck to be like, I do this, here's how to get started. I do this, here's how to get started. Now we're changing the dialogue and we're focusing on the true problem that you're solving for people. So here's some tips. Hey, here we go. I think the slide should have been like way higher up. Provide context. So start by inputting details about your business, including your industry, niche, and target audience. The more context you provide, the more tailored and relevant the post ideas will be. So start by inputting all this stuff into Chatbot GPT. Just act like you're having coffee with Chatbot, right? You're just sitting down being like, hey, here's my business, here's the people I'm serving, here's the problems we solve. Give it a lot of details. So when it spits back all of those answers, it's going to be able to grab data from the web, like actual problems people are facing, and it's going to be able to grab information about your business you put in, and it's going to synthesize really great data you can use for social. And then this, ask for specific ideas. Instead of vague requests like, give me social media post ideas, ask for posts related to a particular topic, event, or theme that's relevant to your audience. So when you start this, you'll get some kind of general ideas, and if it feels too generic, you can have it get more specific. You could say, that's great. Can you tailor this to maybe make it about middle-aged men that live in Keller that are looking for a fresh start in January and are tired of breaking promises to themselves and their family and their friends? Boom. And then that's going to rewrite that whole thing around the context of that person. And I know I'm all over the place. That's just my personality. I'm sorry, and you're welcome. But something to think about in that regards too, it's you guys have to be the specialists and not the generalists, right? So if Jessica is writing posts trying to get people to a gym, she could literally say, hey, this is for anyone that lives around this area that has a heartbeat, that can fog a window. You should just come in and join, right? And that's going to have way less impact than if she is the specialist on knowing, okay, I'm looking for these 2, 3, 4 types of people. I'm looking for middle-aged men that are looking for a restart. I'm looking for moms that just dropped their kids off at school that are like trying to competitively win against their friends in pickleball. And I'm looking for teenagers that are trying to get in shape for like football season. Like really figuring out who are those specific people and start writing some posts around that. Because the more niche you get, the more results that you'll get. And you don't have to just focus on one niche, but if you have a few different niches, you can have very specific posts and information that's going to speak to them. And then also you can specify platforms, which is really cool. So if you mention the social media platform that you want to target, it will help you write the right kind of content for that channel. So for example, if you do something on LinkedIn, do you think that's going to be longer form or shorter form content? Longer. That's right. Because LinkedIn is going to have the attention span. I was doing a podcast yesterday, and this lady was an expert on LinkedIn, and she gave me some really interesting information that I forget the percentage, but the majority of people on LinkedIn view it on a computer. So they're already like ready for the day. They're focused. Their intent is a lot more different than someone in the school line just on like Insta or Facebook. So LinkedIn, people are on their computer. Most of them make combined household income of at least 100,000, and they spend more time reading that post, and they have more of an intent. They're consuming content. Only about 3% of people on LinkedIn are contributors, and the rest of them are consumers. Oh, you have? No. But maybe she heard her and just regurgitated that information. It is. Yep. So that's a great place just to be. If you haven't tried anything on there yet, this is, and you're like, I suck at writing copy. I don't want to write a long thing. Have Chatbot do it. Say, use this content and write a long LinkedIn post for me, and it will bust it out for you. So say which platform you want to do it. And then next up, we're going to learn, so creating the post, planning your content, being the expert are the 3 things. Have you guys used Canva before? You guys love Canva? Like, it's kind of crazy. Brian's giving me some side eye. Have you ever used Canva before, Brian? No? That's not an app on your phone you're using daily? So Canva is like the ultimate cheat code for doing any quick design. It was a little painful for me personally to transition to because I grew up as a designer. So I was like Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator, excited, like logos, branding, all that stuff. And we had to go through the pain of learning these highly technical tools and starting from zero every time. And Canva is crazy. Yeah, you can literally say like Facebook social media post quote, and it will give you like these already designed out like quote templates with like a picture and a place where the quote goes, and you open it up and you drag and drop your picture here and it beautifully pops in, You can say, oh, those aren't my brand colors. It's like, no problem, change the colors, copy and paste your text, and you export that as a JPEG you can use in your social post, and you can do that in like 45 seconds. Yeah, the magic reshaping tool, yeah. It's amazing. So if you haven't used Canva, there's like Canva Pro, and it's super cheap. I can't remember how much it is. Yeah, very, very inexpensive. But I highly recommend using that just to give your posts a little more oomph, because it can bring them to life and do it really, really fast. And I've been using it personally for even just some emails and funnels and things, because it's a lot easier just to start with something that already looks great. So Canva Pro, so for Instagram posts and social media graphics, think about it too, guys. If you're posting, LinkedIn is different, but if you're posting on Facebook and Instagram, your job is to stop people scrolling. And people aren't going to stop scrolling if it's just a bunch of text, right? So your graphic has to be really cool. It's got to be the J Dog, picture of the bulldog front and center, ripping through a dumpster on fire with sparkles coming out of his eyes for Christmas sparkles, laser shooting out of his eyes, for people to actually be like, what in the world is this, right? Because what people don't realize is the job of a great graphic or a great headline is just to get people to read the next thing. You don't have to communicate the entire thing in that one headline or one graphic. A good headline gets you to read the next line. That good line gets you to read the next line. A good graphic is a big stop sign. If you don't have a stop sign, no one is going to read the content beneath that stop sign. You could have the most beautiful written content all about the benefits of cryotherapy and how it will change your life, but no one is going to read it because there wasn't a captivating stop sign. They just went through, right? So make sure that that's what Canva is going to help you do, is create a really good graphical stop sign. All right, so planning your content. If you guys, some people use spreadsheets like Google Sheets, and they'll just say like, here's all the content I want to post, here's the graphic, here's this. You can absolutely do that. If you're already using Genie Rocket, if you didn't know this, you can schedule out all of your posts in advance on a content calendar. So you can say, here's my post for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, write the content, upload the Canva graphic, schedule it out, be done. And that posts to LinkedIn too. So LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Google My Business, TikTok, you can schedule across all those channels. If you don't have that, there's things like Hootsuite or Sprout Social, or you can use plain old Google Sheets. There's lots of options, but have a content calendar or something that plans out that content so you don't have to worry about it. And if it's something that automatically posts for you, that's even better. So I don't know about you, but I'm much better if I can just like focus a segment at a time, get it all done, and not just done, but scheduled, so you can walk away, move on to the next thing, and not ever have to come back over here and push another button. Like all the emails and stuff you guys get from me, I usually create a series of like 5, 10, 15, 20 emails or things. I time them all out. I set all these triggers up. I push go, and I'm done. And it's like 1, 2, 3 weeks worth of stuff that I don't ever have to go touch again. And so that's the same with social. If you can make it where you've got a week's worth of posts, all focusing on problem, it's just done. So think about this as a different category of posting. This is more about you broadcasting the problem and showing that you're the expert, and it's less about collaboration and pulling people in. So I would still do those on your own. Like when Natalie was here, I think you just tagged us on something, because I just got the alert on my watch from Genie Rocket. So that's the stuff that you still need to do, the rhythm and routine of like, if Brian ever shows up and there's like a 50-foot snowman he's about to take apart, like he better take a picture of that and post it on social to be like, take a look at this crazy thing we're about to take apart today. So all the culture storytelling stuff should still happen, but this is just a whole separate channel of just like boom, 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 boom. Like, good question. Cool. Was that valuable content? Was that helpful to you guys? What's that? For Chatbot GPT-4? So hey, look, Chatbot GPT, the 3 or 3.5 that's free is still fantastic. So if you want to get 4 and you want to get on the waiting list and then eventually pay $20 a month for it, it's good to have. I still think, Canva, in my opinion, if you were trying to figure out, do I spend money on Canva or Chatbot, I would spend money on Canva Pro to get good stop signs and use the free Chatbot GPT to generate you great content. And here's one other Chatbot GPT tip, just because we're talking about it. In Chatbot GPT-4, you can create your own branded kind of search engines about your company. So let's say if Brian could have the JDog Chatbot GPT. So he pushes a button, says, this is called JDog's marketing assistant. He's going to put all the information in about his company. He's going to have it crawl his website. And then anytime he needs anything, he can click on the JDog chatbot and say, write me 7 posts for the next week because my brain is not in it today. This isn't a dig on you. I'm just making this up. And I just need help with this, and create me 7 posts. It's going to pull all the data it's been learning about his business. He can even upload PDF files. He could say, here's all the stuff my franchise has given me, and I'm going to upload it here so it can learn and read. And then he can ask it any question he wants, and it's going to pull from all that data and generate content for him, which is really dang cool. It's kind of meant to replace a person. So you can create your own chatbot GPT AIs and say, this is my marketing assistant, this is my customer service bot, this is my this thing. And then over time, they learn and get trained, and he can ask it any question, and it's going to have dynamic, amazing content better than most humans could produce. It should scare you all a little bit. Be the expert that uses it. That's right. That's right. The future is not robots. It's robots plus humans. We still have a spot at the table because we're the ones that are going to be telling it, giving it the prompts and helping it get smarter so we can focus on more strategic problems that our beautiful minds were made to solve. We don't have to worry about the small, repetitive admin tasks that, in all my business coaching, it's always like, hey, Brad, you shouldn't be doing the $10 an hour tasks. You need to be doing the $300 an hour tasks. But it's well, who's going to do these? And so now the answer to that is becoming more about AI. So think about it that way. As you guys are growing, think about what are the problems that Brian needs to be solving at a higher strategic CEO level that he can then give AI to help solve some of those other things. So he doesn't have to waste his precious brain power on a frequently asked question or a social post. He can just go to chat and be like, hey, I need 5 posts over 5 days. That's going to help me get some new business specifically in Keller for larger homes. Go. It's going to say, great, sounds good, Brian. Here's your 5 posts that are specifically in Keller for larger homes that are going to help you get more business. Boom, 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 boom. It's like, great, thanks. Now I don't have to spend 3 hours trying to think about that. I can focus on bigger CEO owner problems. Cool. Any questions on that you guys have? Any questions in chat you guys can throw up? Logan can help answer in chat. So I highly recommend, if you guys have never done this before, just try it. Make a promise to yourself. You don't have to do all 9 of those things, but just do a couple of them and just see the power of Chatbot and how it can help answer questions and create some beautiful content. I think you'll be really, really surprised of how good it does. And then our next BAM is on the 29th, which is right after Christmas. So if you guys are in town, maybe we'll do a fun New Year reset one. How do we really help get our minds ready and our businesses ready to have the best 2024? Do you guys want to have the best 2024? Because we all kind of had, do you guys feel like 2023 was kind of a little sucky? Not the best? Are we allowed to all raise our hands and say 2023 kind of sucked? I think we all deserve an awesome 2024. So let's come in on the 29th and really just start thinking about what are some ways that we can start planning for a really great 2024 and how to create the right rhythms and routines in our business, how to make sure that we're working on things that matter the most and have the biggest impact and that we can measure and get better at. You guys good with that? And let's all, because hopefully this time next year, I want us to say like we had the best 2024. We had the thriving, we made the most impact, right? Because it's more about just making the money. It's like, how do we have the most impact and help the most people, help them accomplish their goals? And the byproduct of that is usually our bank accounts look better, right? When we're focused on not just what's my bank account look like, and we're focused on, are we helping the most amount of people possible, making the biggest impact? If that becomes our focus, this solves itself. But if we're only focused on the number over here, then these people don't get the help they need, and they're not going to pay you. So when we're focused on helping these people, then this stuff takes care of itself. And that's sometimes hard to get up in the morning and not just look at the bank account and be like, what am I going to do today? Or how do I feel today based on this? Because our attitudes will directly impact our actions. And if our attitudes are directly tied to the number in our bank account, then we're going to show up really grumpy every day. And these people aren't going to want to pay us and aren't going to want our help. And then it's a downward spiral. So that's more, I'm not a mindset coach or a high performance coach, but I do know if we can separate ourselves from our bank accounts and think about how do I help as many people as possible and have the best attitude as possible, have positive mental attitude, then this over here is going to grow. But we have to focus on these people, and we have to sell the results, right? Remember, the whole and not the drill. Sell the results and sell the outcomes. Don't sell them the drill. And then be really loud about the problem you're solving. The louder we can be about that problem, right? People are going to resonate. I mean, this was unintentional, but just like right now, right? We're all in line of like, man, 2023 sucked. That's a problem. You had a great year. I'm so happy for you. But it's okay. Like, the problem is this year sucked, and we've got to figure out why. And then how do we show up with the greatest attitudes and intentions every day to help the people that we care about the most? Because if we show up like grumpy and not 100% in and not ready to serve these people because over here doesn't look the best it's ever been, and that affects how we're showing up for people over here, then it's never going to get better. It's never going to get better. So we just had to figure out how to turn this off. Don't look at that. Just add a few commas and zeros and pretend like. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I think he's got a call. Yeah. But that's a really good mindset hack. So if you had $1 million in the bank, yeah, it would be how will that impact your thinking, your feeling, what you're doing with your family? Because here's the deal. We have all heard this, but I don't think we've spent a lot of time thinking about it, is if a lot of very wealthy people are unhappy and suicidal, money's obviously not the answer, right? So how are we spending time with the people that, God's given to us and the things that are around us? How do we enjoy that the most, regardless of what this looks like over here? Because I think it's better to have, life with what we have right now and learn how to enjoy it than saying, well, one day when I have an extra $1 million, then I can be happy. Then I can do these things with my family. Then I can enjoy these things, because you're never going to get there. Or by the time you get there, you've bypassed all these opportunities to experience joy. What's that? Now you're old. That's right. Just for the record, nobody called you old, Brian. Nobody called you old. Okay, so last thing I was going to show you guys, just because I'm really excited about this, and we're doing this neat thing where you can get like 20 leads free from this thing, but I just wanted to show you all because it is really stinking cool. And this is probably more tailored for B2B. How many of you guys in here have like business to business clients? Like if you need to go after specific businesses and not just individuals? Sometimes? Okay. Corporate headshots. All right, so I'm going to, give me just a second while I share my screen. And Logan, I don't have this as a slide, so you'll just have to turn it back onto video. If I can get this to work. And I might just talk through it first because my internet's being wonky. So inside of Genie Rocket, we've got this neat thing that is like a real-time person finder for businesses. And I just watched a demo of it yesterday. We partnered with this new company. So you can be very specific saying, I'm looking for CEOs that are also investors in the biotech space that live in South Lake. And I'm trying to think another, like even if it's just that combo, and it will real time pull data from LinkedIn, from the web, from directories, and present those people with their name, email, phone number. And then it's got AI that will pull details about that person. And you can hover over it and it'll say, here's what their business does. Here's the problem they solve. Here's like who their customers are. And so you've literally got their name, email, phone number, AI data. And then it also will show you examples of like how you can reach out to them to start a conversation. So most of the time I've looked down on like cold prospecting or cold email prospecting, but this is a unique way for people that are looking for very specific customers that might not just be on like Facebook or Google, but they're going for like the direct shot. Like for example, if Brian had a certain business district that he was close by to and said, I want to know all the CEOs that are in this zip code or in this neighborhood, go. And it's going to actually look for everything around that very specific line that he draws and tries to find those people. So what could he do with that? He could import those into his Genie Rocket automatically and then send them all emails and have like an email list to say, hey, this is Brian with JDog. I noticed you were in my business park. We have to do a lot of commercial junk removal. Just wanted to see if we could pick up your first load of junk for free. Would love to introduce myself, see if we can be of help to you. Just reply back yes if you're interested. That's it. So if he has all the right people in there, then if one of those persons responds back and starts a relationship with them and then starts a continuity program where he's picking up their junk, then that becomes worth it. So anyways, we just acquired this tool that's really neat that allows you to get very specific with either a certain type of person, like again, CEO or VP or executive. You can also go directly to a certain kind of business. So if Natalie is looking for like all the people that work at Orange Theory Fitness inside of Dallas Fort Worth to offer them a free cryotherapy session, she could say, I'm looking for executives at Orange Theory Fitness in Dallas Fort Worth, go. And it's going to look for name, email, phone number, LinkedIn profile. So then you could start reaching out to them, making them an offer. So long story short, if you guys think that there might be someone in that list that you want to try, we're doing like 20 leads for free, just as a total test, just to say like, hey, we want to show you guys how it works. See if you like it, see if you could benefit from it. And if you like it, we'll show you how we can like keep giving you a certain amount of leads every month that you can work the list. If you are not into like following up with people and sales and doing that kind of work, this is going to be terrible for you because they're not just going to be like usually a one email close. It's going to be like follow up and nurture, it's sales. So if that's interesting, we have, so we're calling this in the theme of everything, Leads Rocket, kind of like Genie Rocket, but we have leadsrocket.ai, and all you have to do, if I can figure out how to share this thing now, it keeps changing. Boop, boop. Oh yeah, so if you just go to leadsrocket.ai, you just put in some basic information, and then you have a call with me, and I learn a little bit more about your dream customer, the problem you're solving, all that information, and then I will help you generate your first 20 leads for free. And here's the deal. Like if you're already on Genie Rocket, I can help you load those into Genie Rocket so you can use that as nurturing, follow up, see if any of them bite. If you're not in Genie Rocket and you're using another CRM, that is totally fine. I can actually export these to like a spreadsheet and just give you name, email, phone number, like your hit list, and you can just start calling and emailing. So this is not like a Genie Rocket specific thing. It really is a thing. And it's a wildly powerful. There's a story I just heard yesterday of two stories. One is a restaurant. So a restaurant was using this, and they are in a building facility with lots of different businesses in there. They got all the email addresses of everyone that was occupying that business, and they sent them emails to say, hey, since you're in the same office as us, if you come in for breakfast, we're going to give you a free breakfast item. If you come in for lunch, we're going to give you a free roll. And if you come in for dinner, we're going to give you a free dessert because you're in the building. And they said every day their restaurant is now full of those tenants that are coming in for that, just because they were able to pull all their information and just invite them to come in and dine with them. There was another gym, I think this was in the UK, that sent out, for B2B, they sent out a message to all these local businesses inviting them in for personal training. And they got like a CEO of Cricket, which is like the big cell phone company, I guess, in that area, that came in and wanted to partner with them and do some really big things because he got one of their emails. So I'm not to say that this is for everybody, but this can pull some really amazing data, and it'd be cool just to try. So if you think that there's someone that you'd want to reach out to specifically to like offer something to, for cryotherapy, I think that could be cool to figure out what business owner or like fitness trainer does not have this that could use it for themselves, and then become a referral partner with you with all their gym, with all their people they're training, right? So if you go to trainers that believe in cryotherapy to be like, hey, I would love to give you this for free just to try out. And then if you love it, we can give you a deal and then help you promote it to some of the people you're training. Same for Keller Point. It could be businesses around here. It's like, hey, businesses, if you don't have a health and wellness program for your clients, have you thought about group package memberships for your team to come in here and get fit? Because guess what? If your team is healthy, they're going to think clearer, they're going to be sharper, they're going to have better attitudes. So those are the sort of things you can think about. How can you target different businesses in a certain area with a certain offer? But anyways, totally free. If you guys want to try this out, 20 leads, it's just the leadsrocket.ai. Would be a good chance too to kind of test this out as you're going through Chatbot GPT and doing those messages. You've now got content for social. You can also have Chatbot GPT to say, create some emails for me for this kind of person. You can even say, I'm doing cold email outreach for businesses in Keller where I'm trying to offer this thing. Create 5 emails for me to talk to this person to try to get a phone call. And it will generate all that content for you. Literally say, email 1, subject line, body. Email 2, subject line, body. Like it's copy and paste. It's copy and paste. And yeah, most of it's out there. Yeah, it is really cool. I mean, regardless of what industry you're in, AI is here, and every tool that you log into now, if it's been updated in the last like 6 months, has some sort of AI in it, right? Even constant contact, everything. Everything. So you've got 2 options. You can embrace it. That is one option, yes. So you can embrace it and really figure out how can you leverage AI to get ahead in business, to not make next year suck, right? Or you can resist it and say, well, this has to be my voice. I have to do the hard work myself. I can't rely on AI to help me with anything, because that just gets us back into those $10 an hour tasks. So I think the more that we leverage tools like AI and these smart tools, it's going to help us move more into being purposeful in our roles as owners, CEOs, entrepreneurs, and have to do less of the grunt and grind work that AI can help us do. Cool? All right. Well, that's it. Hopefully see you guys next Friday at 1:30 online. Thank you guys for being here. Do you guys want to wave to the online camera back here? Logan will reposition. Hey. Thank you guys for joining online. Thank you guys for being in person. Have an awesome Christmas and holidays. And if your kids are home, spend good time with them. Do some fun things. Go for walks, play some games, have some fun. Turn off your work brain. See you guys next time.
The Genie Rocket platform. It has allowed me to eliminate individual products that I was using to accomplish things like scheduling my social media management, all of my email campaigns. I love the fact that I can text people with it and have all of my communications unified in one place. I know I have a central place to go to manage everything that has to do with the lead that's come into my platform, whether that lead comes from a Facebook ad that I've managed through the platform, or they come from a different channel. I have a means to connect them to a contact and a record in the Genie Rocket platform and follow up consistently each and every time. All of my funnels are built there. My website is built there. Pretty much it's now become the back end hub of my whole business.